Story Corner, presented by Jennifer. Bella Sarah, Book 1, Bella's Gift. In all her years at the castle, Jillian had never been in the corridor in which she now found herself. Ivina had directed her to a secret door in her chambers. It led to a winding set of stairs that went down to a dank, moldy-smelling passage whose walls oozed drops of greenish water. There were no windows, so she couldn't be sure, but Jillian suspected the whole wing was underground. Jillian followed the turns of the hall cautiously, passing several wolf guards along the way. One of them looked at her and licked his chops. His eyes gleamed red. She tried to steady her shaking hands as the dish of porridge clattered quietly against the heavy silver tray. "It'll be all right," she whispered to herself, only half believing it. After several minutes, Jillian reached the end of the passage. A small set of stone stairs led up to a thick oak door secured by a heavy iron lock. One thing was certain, Ivina did not want whoever was inside to get out. Jillian set the tray carefully atop the stair. Her palms were sweaty as she fumbled in her pocket for the iron key. She recalled how Ivina had pulled the key from around Merfor's neck. No doubt it had been with Merfor for safekeeping. Merfor was the toughest wolf at Stigmore Castle. No one, human or animal, dared challenge Merfor, a descendant of Fenner, the wolf monster who, according to legend, had power so strong he could not even be restrained by the gods. Jillian fitted the key to the lock. Taking a deep breath, she forced herself to turn it swiftly to the left as Ivina had instructed. With a smooth click, the lock gave way. Jillian lifted the silver tray once more and pressed open the large oak door with the weight of her body. She immediately felt a presence. A wave of fear washed over her. Then she saw who was in the room. She gasped with amazement, nearly dropping the tray. The otter! At once, Jillian's fear melted away, replaced by a warm rush of relief. Sensing the creature's goodness, Jillian stepped forward. "I brought you something to eat," she said, setting the bowl of porridge on a small table. "I'm sorry it's not much." Jillian gazed into the creature's big, kind eyes. The otter wore a star-shaped pendant on a chain of pearls around its neck. "What brings you here, to this dark place?" Jillian asked. The otter looked quickly away, and then back at Jillian. This time, Jillian saw a deep sadness in the creature's eyes. And something else as well. Pity. Puzzled, Jillian cast her eyes down towards the polished silver tray. Her reflection shone back at her. When she looked up again, Jillian noticed that the stone around the otter's neck was glowing softly. An image flashed into Jillian's mind. The blue journal. She saw herself drawing the otter. Something clicked in her mind. "Me?" Jillian whispered. Did I bring you here?" Jillian knew she'd always had a special bond with animals. Now, standing here before the otter, her mind turned over all her magical friends in the castle. As she thought about them, she realized each of them had arrived at Stigmore soon after she'd drawn them in her notebook. Slowly, things began to make sense. A feeling of dread washed over her. By drawing them in her journal, Jillian was luring the creatures to the castle. It was her fault they had come to Stigmore and been captured by Ivina. A lump formed in Jillian's throat, and a tear splashed down onto the silver tray. "You are here because of my drawing, aren't you?" she said to the otter. "I am so sorry. I promise you, I didn't know." She let out a sob. "Dear child, do not blame yourself. It is true you possess the ability to draw animals to you, and this is a rare and special gift which should be cherished. Instead, it has been abused by your mistress." The otter could speak to her? Jillian was so startled she stopped crying and stared at the creature, her eyes wide with wonder. "It is the starstone I wear around my neck," explained the otter. One of its powers is to allow us to share our thoughts. Jillian was fascinated, her mind filled with questions about the precious starstone. I'm afraid there is no time to tell you more about the stone's magic. The otter interrupted Jillian's train of thought. We must plan our escape from the castle. We must also find a way to free the magical creatures that are trapped here. You see, I have been observing the castle for some time now. Almost 2 years ago, it had become evident that a number of magical creatures were disappearing from all over North of North. I have been investigating and eventually traced the missing animals to Stigmore. So you were looking for the creatures the day I saw you outside the castle grounds? Asked Jillian. That is right. It was very foolish of me to let myself be seen like that, although I do not regret that it has led me to you, the otter replied. I still don't understand, said Jillian. Does Ivina know I have been able to summon animals? Has she been using me to draw magical creatures to Stigmore? She already has plenty of servants. Why would she want more? Yes, she's known about your ability. I suspect she's collecting animals so she can steal their magic and use it to increase her own, answered the otter. For many years, Ivina has been searching for a way to overcome her sworn enemies, the Valkyries. They were the first horse riders. My good friend is the leader of all horses, Bella. At once, Jillian pictured the white horse she had seen in her daydream. Bella, she whispered, saying the name aloud sent a tingle across her skin. Before Jillian could ask any more questions, she heard a rustling at the door. The otter's eyes went wide with fear. Someone was listening. Jillian whipped around. There in the doorway was the hulking frame of a wolf.